Day 2 of lockdown in Canberra, and the city is coming to terms with its new COVID reality. To the relief of authorities, just one new infection was detected in the last 24 hours, a close contact of one of the previously confirmed cases. And authorities have confirmed the infections here are the Delta strain, straight out of Sydney. Health authorities are still trying to confirm who brought it into the capital and broke the ACT's 13-month COVID-free run. Lisa Glenday joins me now from Epic, where we've seen some really long testing lines in recent days. Well, Lisa, what's the latest?
Well, Craig, Canberra's first 6 positive COVID cases came very quickly, one after another, in just over 24 hours. So I think today a lot of Canberrans were bracing themselves for some pretty grim news. But thankfully, just that one new COVID case, and that's going to give Canberra's contact tracers the breathing space they need. On a sunny Saturday in a city lockdown, the message from the Chief Minister is clear.
Stay at home over this weekend.
After a record day of testing yesterday, today there was some good news.
In the last 24 hours, the ACT has recorded one additional COVID-19 case, a close contact of the previous cases, taking the total number of active cases to 7. At this stage, none of the active cases are hospitalised.
How COVID came to Canberra is still a mystery, but there's a clear link to the Delta disaster in Sydney.
I am comfortable that this case is linked to Greater Sydney and it has not come out of somewhere else or out of its own.
There are now 40 exposure locations spread right across the territory, and 4,500 Canberrans are considered close contacts. Long lines are continuing at testing clinics across the territory, and despite testing capacity increasing, some cars are continuing to be turned away.
If you don't have symptoms, you haven't been in an exposure location, you haven't been asked by ACT Health to go and get tested, the best thing you can do to support our public health response is stay home.
Almost all of Canberra's COVID cases are in people younger than 40, a worrying statistic amongst a largely unvaccinated part of the population. Today, a pop-up testing clinic was set up at Gold Creek School after a 14-year-old student tested positive yesterday. The source is still unknown.
When we first heard about what was happening, there's definitely confusion, there's definitely anxiety and stress.
Canberra's 7-day lockdown is due to end on Thursday, but the Chief Minister says he's taking things one day at a time.
In light of what we've seen up the highway in New South Wales today, that just serves as a reminder of how this can get away quickly.
An announcement about whether Canberra's lockdown will be extended is expected in the first half of next week. Life in lockdown is a challenge for all Canberrans, but spare a thought for the city's most vulnerable, those that don't have a roof over their head or those that can't afford to put food on the table. To help, the ACT government has today announced funding for free food parcels to be delivered to those in Canberra who are most in need. As Canberra prepared to lock down, Christy Clark was gearing up to help the homeless. She spent the past 48 hours delivering donated masks, bedding and food vouchers to shelters across the city.
The demands just went crazy as that snap lockdown was announced, understandably, because those who are sleeping rough, they don't even have a permanent address or phone number. It's very hard for them to follow those lockdown rules.
Christy and her turquoise van have been met by beaming smiles at every drop-off.
These organisations are working with these individuals and different support services to make sure that nobody is left out without somewhere to go where they can feel safe, because their health is at risk as well.
As the lockdown loomed on Thursday, supermarkets were swarming with panic buyers. But not all Canberrans have the means to stock up.
There are a lot of people who will be at home right now, not sure how they're going to get dinner on the table this evening or tomorrow, and it's pressure that they don't need.
Thankfully, there is now help. The ACT government has chipped in for emergency food relief.
The initial funding is around $250,000 at this stage. That is obviously flexible and can be extended if necessary.
It's as easy as calling Volunteering ACT.
who will organise a click and collect order of basic supplies, which will be delivered to your front door.
We don't want Canberrans sitting at home worrying about food.
Worry is plaguing the ACT, and a spike in calls to Lifeline is proof.
Some people are struggling with loss. They're unable to, go away or visit relatives. Some people are struggling with job losses or financial distress. Some people are struggling with relationship breakdowns. So it's really quite varied.
Regardless of the source of concern, though,
the power in that conversation and remaining connected is key to our well-being and a critical success factor through this lockdown.
Canberra's blood banks have seen cancellations skyrocket since the city locked down. The Red Cross fears there's confusion about whether donating is an essential service. It is, and you can even do it with a friend.
If you're well and your friend is well, why not make an appointment together, come and donate and do that quick little catch-up.
A donate date.
Donate date.
Another valid reason not to stay home is if home isn't a safe place to be. Evidence has shown lockdowns add pressure to volatile relationships and can lead to an escalation in violence. Canberra's Domestic Violence Crisis Service wants victims to know it is always open and ready to help. Rosie King, ABC News, Canberra.
Well, for days now, we've been hearing about long lines at Canberra's COVID testing clinics. Some people have been forced to wait in their cars for up to 8 hours to be tested, while others have been turned away late at night. This afternoon, there was some good news with those waiting times dramatically decreasing. At Brindabella Park and here at Epic this afternoon, waiting times were under an hour. And just recently here at Exhibition Park, there was no queue at all. So for those people that have been putting off getting tested, I think now might be your chance to do it.